All yours.
Okay, so welcome everybody. This is exciting. This is fun. I met Laleh, what is it, 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago? She was a guest on my podcast, and we realized that we were in the same magical sphere of connecting and helping people figure out their inner selves. And we decided to partner up on this webinar. As we know, we are in uncertain times, unprecedented times, but I still believe that there's joy to be found anywhere. And so we collaborated on this. So today we want to walk you through what finding joy in uncertain times are. This is a loose structure. There's going to be an introduction. Obviously, the amazing Laleh is going to introduce herself, and I'm going to introduce myself as I'm probably the stranger to you all here. And then we'll dive into the presentation and take questions. It's going to be very loose. Feel free to raise your hand throughout the presentation. The pillars for today, tomorrow, and the day after are as follows. Today, we'll be largely talking about being present. Tomorrow, we're going to dive into gratitude and how to practice that. And then the last day, Saturday, I'm not sure how to say that in Portuguese, is about engaging communication. But here we go. Why don't you introduce yourself?
All right. Well, first, I want to thank all of you for being here with us, whether you're watching in person right now or you're watching later. And also for all of you who really, this was a last minute choice. You just saw it out there and you decided to jump on and come really create what is it to have joy in these moments of uncertainties and just really some really interesting moments in our lives. And myself, my name is Laleh Hancock. And, quickly put a few things together of me personally. I'm a world traveler. I love cultures, languages. I'm a huge advocate of Mother Earth and all the amazing things that are part of Mother Earth, which includes you and me. Car enthusiast, the faster the car, the faster the speed, that's me. And an entrepreneur, truly always looking at what else is possible and what else we can be really creating and putting out into the world that makes our lives greater and really makes the lives of everyone greater, not just one of us. And then professionally, I get the great pleasure of taking the businesses out into the world. One of them is called Bella Pimo, and the other is Global Wellness for All. And I am honored to actually be an international speaker, really talking about different ways for us to add more wellness in our lives, our businesses, conscious leadership, engaging, being there and engaging with others, engaging with our communities, engaging with the earth, and wellness, because it all looks more than what we think it is of just what are you eating. And the other few things is I've gotten a chance to actually be a distinguished leader and a writer. I write many articles for many magazines globally, as well as I've been in a few books. America's Leading Ladies is one of the latest projects and the latest adventure. Leaders and Legends and America's Star Entrepreneurs. So just a little bit about me, and we're here to add more joy into our lives and living.
Oh gosh, look at that. I feel like I should have gone first because of that amazing resume, but it's okay. It's okay. I'll just go ahead. This is me. I usually look like that. Normally when I'm not in quarantine and I have access to a barber, I probably look a little different, but personally, I'm the son of a diplomat. I'm actually Nigerian. So any Nigerians here, please feel free to let me know, wave your hands. And I grew up as the son of a diplomat. So I grew up in 5 countries in 4 continents by the time I was 18. I am the leader of the Bad Dancer Club or crew, which means I'm just a very bad dancer. And I'm proud of that without any shame.
Hey, can we see some of that action today?
It's on my Instagram already. I mean, latest, it's already there. Proud Ravenclaw. I'm very into Harry Potter, as some of you will start to tell, and ENFJ ambivert. So, I have my introverted side and my extroverted side. I'm bilingual. I speak French and English. I've been fired twice, and I survived a near-death experience. Professionally, I run a diversity and inclusion firm. My biggest goal in life is to break down the systems of oppression that exist in the media, in the workplace, and in education institutions. And I hope to bridge cultural divides as much as I can. We'll see. And I also speak quite often. I've spoken at TEDx, World Bank, the United Nations, and I'm an author and working on writing more books. But my mission statement is the title of that book. It's Use Your Difference to Make a Difference. And I'm hoping that you all today will be able to use your differences to make a difference by becoming present. What does this word mean to you, Laleh, when you say becoming present?
Well, first, I want to say something about you.
Oh, no. I thought this was not going to happen.
Just in case people haven't figured it out during the first few minutes of this, like, I'm so grateful you came in my life. Like, I know my PR person found you and your amazing podcasts and all the different ways that you have allowed people to share their voice and really have a voice with no barriers, no culture problems, no language, no ethnicity or anything else. But one of the things about you is truly also this sense of humor that you have. And when we're talking about difficult times, we're talking about, being present or anything else in our lives. The one thing is, please do not give up who you are. And with you be this whole space of joy and laughter. And you are a wizard. And we're going to have you share some of your wizard skills on these shows for today, tomorrow, and the next day. But I knew, like, when we started to chat, we knew when we were doing the podcast, like, there's something that wanted to be created in the world with the two of us and both of our energies. And neither one of us cared about ego or who's what. It really was like, what can we put out there that empowers people to know that there's another possibility available? And no matter what your situation, no matter where you are in quarantine, like, what if wherever you are in that situation can be there for just 10 seconds?
Yeah.
And allow us to really open up our hearts, open up our points of views to actually be dissipating and moving away, and allow the real genuine you to come and shine through. So I just wanted to thank you for that. And anyone, please, at any moment you have a question, you can type it. If you want to come live with us, just let us know. We bring you live to be a panelist and you can ask your question live. And also, if you're listening right now through one of the translated lines, the translation lines, please do not ask your questions there. But if you're in the English, you can ask it in your native tongue and we'll have our translators translate your question. Yeah. And we're meeting today, tomorrow, and Saturday for 90 minutes each day. So just know we have plenty of time to cover as much as you guys like. And then next topic the next day. Okay, cool.
That's how it is. And first of all, just thank you. Thank you for being kind. Thank you for your kind words. I mean, these things, when you see a connection, you feel a connection, you work with it. And I think if there's anything we've learned from COVID-19 and the coronavirus is that there's no invitation to live your life. Anything can happen. And once it happens, you can either respond, react, or, do nothing. And I guess we were in the spirit of trying to promote a positive action. And the reason why I do love joy, for me in Nigeria, when you're named, your name has a meaning, right? I'm from the Yoruba tribe, and Tayo is short for Akintayo, and Akintayo means a warrior, or the warrior has brought us joy. So Tayo is the joy part. And so for me, joy has always been a big presence in my life. And I always feel like my grandparents and mother and parents raised me, gave me that name, but I've been, doing my best to live up to that name. And I hope that we can bring joy today. And part of that is being present. I think it's very, very hard for many people, obviously, to be present today because it feels like there's no control. Is that correct? I mean, would you agree with that? I'm just curious about what you
I,
think about this.
I think it comes back to the word that we used is finding joy in the uncertain times. There's
Mhm.
so much that, people are used to controlling. They're used to knowing every day I get up, I shower, I go to work, or I go to school, or whatever their day-to-day functions are.
Yeah.
But now it's that place of that uncertainty. So this is actually where it's important to live in 10 seconds. Like that moment, like you have to live in the moment. You can't be like, okay, what I did yesterday doesn't even exist anymore. It's gone.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
So talking again about being present, there's so many ways of becoming present. And I'd love to do an exercise with all of us in like 2 minutes, but what we're going to ask of you is during the time we're together, what if you start to actually listen to your bodies? What if you start to listen to your knowing? And if what we say to you just feels really wonky inside or there's heaviness going on, just know whatever we're sharing may not resonate with you, okay? Because when things go wonky or you perceive that, a lot of times the first thing we do is we put up our energetic walls. We put up our barriers and go into defense mode. When you're in defense, you're no longer present, you're no longer receiving. So when you notice the lightness and it's something that resonates with you, even if it doesn't make sense to your head, go flow with it and ask a question. If you guys have that wonkiness, I invite you, please come up here and let's chat, because sometimes the most wonkiest things in the world is your body's signal of saying, hey, maybe now's the time for us to change whatever's making us wonky.
Yeah. Yeah. Feel the discomfort, whatever that's happening, work through the resistance and push through it, because obviously that's what we need to feel right now. And I'll be monitoring the chats as well, just so we can keep the conversation engagement. And do you know what that word means in Portuguese? I wish I knew in Dreco in Portuguese.
They want the login for Portuguese. So hold on, let me send it to them 1 second and I could put it on there. And if there's anyone else here who
And Renata, hi. It's my pleasure. It's honestly, it's a pleasure to meet you all. So
wait, before we go, can you, just for clarity, I think what might also assist people is you physically live in such an interesting place right now. You live in New York City. You are at the, do you want to share a little bit about where you physically are residing during the quarantine?
yeah, so I'm in New York City. I live very close to a big hospital, and what's been happening in the city is it's been an average of 700 or so people dying every day. And normally in New York City, you're used to sirens. You hear it all the time. I've done a lot of interviews. You hear the sirens, you're like, it's just the city. The city's always alive. But when you hear it now, you have this almost dread, eerie feeling, and it's because you're aware that that could be someone racing to save someone's life or not, and everything that you've heard, loved ones not being able to be together, people buried alone, all those things. So it's very easy to to feel not like your best, because for whatever reason, New York City has been hit the most, and the death toll is well past 10,000. So what I've been interestingly dealing with, especially as an empath, is especially when the thing first happened, was I found myself having a difficult time getting out of bed. And I'm normally, if you know me, I'm very, hyper and all over the place. But I just was like, what am I going to do? I can't help the homeless. I can't help people that are losing their jobs. I can't help anyone. I don't know what's going to happen to me, what's going to happen to everyone. And I had to really find myself again, in terms of realizing that I couldn't control what was happening. And I just had to remember, hey, what about today? What can you do today? What can you do now? And what can you do for yourself to connect? And that's when, all these, wonderful moments of connection started to happen. I know I connected with you during those moments. And I kept doing, my webinars in those moments. But yeah, it's been an interesting ride emotionally, but I found the balance, I think, and I think New York City is remaining strong. So that's where we are.
Thank you so much for sharing that, because how many people watching now or in the future, that's exactly where they are right now. They're in that place of like, what can I do? Where can I go? I can't go anywhere. I'm in my house. Some people are in their house by themselves. Some are there with their loved ones that they're ready to kill anyway right now. you know, but coming to this becoming present, like, it's so easy for each of us. We are SpongeBobs. We can come into a room, whether it's a boardroom or whether it's your kid's bedroom, wherever you are, and immediately you and your body start to perceive, hey, there's a problem here, or hey, people are laughing. Like, we can perceive, our radars are up, we can perceive it. And it's not just your room and where you walk into. We have this perception that actually goes very wide. So you get to pick up the thoughts, the feelings, the emotions that are going on globally. Like, there is not one city, there's not one state, one country in the world that isn't thinking about this, that isn't going into those, searching for answers, looking for control, dealing with overwhelm or stress or anxiety or depression or loneliness, or their fear factor of unemployment. Am I going to get paid? Am I not going to get paid? Am I going to file for, like, all these things are going on. And I'd like to invite you guys, we would like to invite you to the moment you're willing to become present with you and with your body and really establish the communion you have with the earth, you allow you to still have that empathy, that awareness of what's going on around you and in the world, but not have it suck you dry, not have you wanting not to move or get out of bed. And that's the piece of the starting point to the pillars of what we're going to talk about. Because if you're not willing to reconnect and be present, you're going to be swallowed away by all the problems and all the difficulties and all the fear factors that are happening.
Absolutely. And part of being present is really being able to look at the mirror and acknowledge whatever you're seeing. I think a lot of times what we do with our days, and it's very easy to do in a city like this, is you just go through the motions, right? You just business. It's everything is almost automatic. You wake, food, this, that. It's like you're brushing your teeth. You don't even realize you're brushing your teeth. Your hand just gets used to that motion, and that becomes life. But what's happening now is, hey, you have to remind yourself, these are some of the traumas you haven't addressed. These are some of the things you've put off. These are some of the little things you've left alone with your family and they're now going to show up more and more. These are some of the moments that you've felt really afraid of. Now you have to deal with that. And it's a very good time for you to be able to figure out how to cope with these things. Tabby, you made a joke. You said you dug a couple holes already outside. I hope I hope you don't have to use those holes. But we're gonna go through your exercise, Laleh, and then connect with our body so that we can get through those. You're still laughing at the holes. That was why I was chuckling earlier when she said it.
But remember, I know Tabitha very well. I know her husband. I know her son. I know her father-in-law who lives with them. Okay, so like when she says a few holes, there's lots of different things that are going through my head right now of the possibility of when I come back to Maryland, what may be happening. I'm kidding. She's amazing.
Should I be scared? What is that?
We should be scared only because she's one of the most amazing veterans in the world. Tabitha, we are so grateful for you and for you serving our country. She served in the Army and the Marines, or the Army and the Navy. I apologize, I don't recall, but she has been such a gift to all of us. And thank you. And thank you for the laugh.
Air Force. It was Air Force.
Air Force. Sorry.
I
Hey,
knew that. I mean, I didn't even know Tabitha until today. I mean, I'm with you that.
you're the wizard. That's why.
Right there. Okay. All right. Okay. So here we go.
Okay.
The present exercise. So what are we doing now to connect with our body?
Okay. So if I can just ask you guys, if this works for you, try it. Okay. Close your eyes. And I'm going to ask you to also be very present of where you are. If you're sitting in a chair, just for a moment, say hello to the chair with your body. If you're laying down, it's okay to lay down, but at some point, if you could also put your feet up, so like your feet almost feel like they are, your feet are down on the earth, okay? And as you do that, firmly put your feet there, wiggle your toes. By you just saying, I'm going to become present, you immediately become present with your body, but you also become present with the earth. So your hands, you have choices on your lap, on your face, on your belly, whichever you like best. For me, I personally love it on my face. So now from your feet, just a moment of your feet firm on the ground, your butt against the chair, your hands on your face or wherever they are. You have now 3 points of connection, which is that presence with you and your body and the earth. And we're just going to take a breath from under our feet and bring it all the way up to the top of our head. And now let it go. Let it come down your neck, down your shoulders, down your whole body, and come back down into the earth. And then as you breathe in again, all the way to the top of your head. And as you release, just release and imagine it's like water just coming, flowing back down through your body and going back into the earth. And one last breath, breathe in. And as you let it go, now let go all your stress, everyone else's stress you're perceiving, all the freak out. Just let it wash away from you and your body and back into the earth. All the lies that you were hearing and who knows who's telling what, just let all of it go. So anything that doesn't belong to you, will you now also let that go and go back into the earth? The earth has no point of view. There is no good, there's no bad. It's just energy. So anything that you just have difficulty with, just send it to the earth. Awesome. And then when you're ready, just open your eyes. And just notice from 2 minutes ago, how is your body? How are you now? How's your head? Because we naturally are part of the earth. Our bodies are part of the earth. And there is no discontinued connection with the earth except when we separate. We separate when there's stress, when there's lies, when there's problems. And so when you're willing to reconnect and be present with your body, the earth is also there to contribute to you. And if you prefer putting your feet on grass, do that. If you prefer sending kisses to the earth, do that. You know, whatever it is, or a prayer. If that's what brings you presence, do that. Do whatever it is, but find some outlets that truly allow you to connect to you and allows you to also have more space. So how much space can you and your body occupy together, not to be impacted, affected, or impinged by other people's problems, universes, pains? and all the insanity that's going on in the world right now. Yeah.
You
And
know, it's
mhm.
sorry, go ahead. You know, it's funny. I've been having this headache for the last 2 days. It cleared up. It did. It's been on this side of my head. Um, but I do think it's interesting what happens, you know, even with Laleh's exercise, we're talking about when you're trying to be present, it's about really creating mental space for you to do things for yourself to either grow or to see yourself as you are. And the things that really take over those things, or you know, the clog up your head, are when you're thinking about the future, or you know, I put future and past is what I meant to say. So when you think about the future and the past, and I think when you get in this cycle of worry, it's you're over exaggerating something that happened in the past, right? Or you're trying to control something that happened in the future. You're thinking that did in the past is going to determine who I am today, and because of that, there's no room for growth. And in the future, it's so uncertain, and because the future is so uncertain, that means I can't be the best person. And because that future has control over me, I'm never going to acknowledge who I am now. And so what's happening is when you give too much power to the past and you give too much power to the future, the present is lost. It's not even there, right? And then you don't have enough mental capacity to even acknowledge anything that's happening. Is there something that you've put off for the longest time that you could actually work on today, right? Is there something that you've put off that you could actually grow with today? And the idea is, it's not that you're going to find some sense of comfort in the idea that it's going to be easy for you to do this. This is very much a practice, and it takes a lot of time. But the discomfort that Laleh was talking about earlier is that whatever discomfort is coming up with you right now, whether it's in the form of resistance, it is happening for you, you know, not to you. And so how can we work through whatever that thing that is you need to work through so that you can become present and eliminate the worries that you have about the past and the future? I mean, something may be showing up for you. And if you have that, please feel free to write that in the comments below. I'm very curious to see what you've given power to that is taking you away from being present. And yeah, let's
Yeah.
connect.
Wow. And, you know, acknowledgement of what you're actually being will help that too. Because, like, most of us, we don't realize how much we're actually gifting to the earth every day, how much the earth is gifting to us every day. And for example, like just that moment, you know, when you just knew you had to pick up the phone and call your mom or your sister or your child or whoever, and they were having a difficult moment in their lives. And you called and you just melted it away just by a phone call, or you hugged them because you saw them and just their whole world melted away. Like each of us, we have these gifts, and
Yes.
it's the gift of you being you. It's not the gift of you being someone else and who the best practice is of being. It's like that you, the
Yeah.
raw you,
Mm.
is such a gift to the world. And that's what our world is requiring right now.
Yeah.
No more autopilots. No more, I have to do it the way I used to. But what's required now for you to be you?
I often say we live in a very, conditioned world as opposed to an intentional world. You know, many of the things we believe and many of the things we do are because we were told to, we were taught that, school, whatever, religion, anything that you've come to believe. But not many of us really investigate why we think what we think and how we got to that place. It's because it's been, I don't know, it's just the way it is. It's just tradition. It's all that. And I want to invite you all to actually apply some intention to that, intentionality into your life, and say, what am I intentionally doing today? What are my core values? Am I living up to my core values? Am I actually being the person that I say I want to be when I go to bed, or am I being a version of someone else? And another thing that shows up now that really robs you of your joy is this curse of comparison. And comparison has its merits sometimes, but now it's very easy to compare yourself to someone else. That person's job is essential. I wish I could have an essential job right now, or that person has their family together and they don't get problems like we do, or, you know, whatever you might be thinking of. And those moments where you find yourself comparing yourself to someone else, not only robs you of the joy, but it gives you this false sense of arrogance because you don't actually know what's happening in the other person's life, you know, regardless of the filter they're showing you, right? So it's very important to remember that being present means being you. That's all it is. It's just being you, seeing you, acknowledging you, and giving yourself grace, even forgiving you. that's all that is. And so that's what I wanted to add to that. I know you were on a roll there, Laleh. I didn't want to take your take your moment there.
You know, a lot of times we don't realize what our thoughts are, right? We just think like, I'm going and going and going, but like we have these moments where we're asking the universe for something, you know, we're like, okay, I'd like to have more like-minded people in the world. Or you might say, oh, you know, I'd like to have an apartment that has more lights. I don't know, something, you know, you throw stuff out there. And like one of the things that I've been asking for is more of people that I can have these conversations with, and people who are making a difference in the world. And it's so amazing for me that I put this request into the universe, whether it was energetic or whether I said it out loud, and here you come into my life. And like, just exactly what you said, I facilitate around the world these amazing programs by Dr. Dane here called Being You, Changing the World. And you just summed it up. I mean, like, it's just amazing. Like, wow. It is like when you are being you, that gift that alters and changes all the molecules around you and the greater world.
That's not, first of all, you're way too kind. But what Laleh is saying is the truth. That we often don't realize the power we have within ourselves. And one of the reasons I was fired twice and I had a near-death experience in my personal thing is because this is the thing, the comparison thing. People often will see your profile or see something and say, that never, you, whatever, you probably never had a life. You never had to go through anything. And I think it's very important to understand that the more present you are, the more you realize the power of your spirit, right? But also how resilient as an ambulance. That for some reason, I don't know, it always gets me in a weird place, but we're being present. And so, and my hope is that whatever's happening right now, whether it's an ambulance coming, you're able to connect with what can you do, what is real and what is imagined, and how to get out of the cycle, you know, the worry cycle of things that we cannot control. And whether it's our leader or whatever politics you believe in, or whether it's our kids or our family, there are certain things that are being foisted upon you right now that can be overwhelming. But is there a practice? I don't know if you have a practice where we can filter out what needs to be done and what's just an extra thing here. Because I think sometimes when we're overwhelmed, we're unconsciously adding burdens to ourselves that we don't need to add.
Yeah. Well, let me share one tool. It's this whole light and heavy tool. And I learned it 8 years ago from Access Consciousness. And it was really interesting because like most of our lives, we knew when something felt good, and we knew the moments where like, don't go down that street or don't do this, you know, like there was these moments where like you just felt it in your body. And there is, when things are light, when things are expansive and you're like, wow, enthusiastic and whatever, like that is your body also saying, hey, the future, we may not know what it is. It's not solid, but it's giving you guidance of something that actually resonates with you. And those moments of heaviness, those moments of where it's almost like you're constricted. And sometimes for me, it's almost like someone put me in one of those old corsets and just started pushing on the cords, and it's tightening harder and harder.
Oh my gosh. I can only imagine.
Yes. Do not make that a reality. That is not a fun one. But yeah, I mean, so we know, and sometimes it's subtle. So one of the things I would like to invite us as we're being present is you are also becoming more and more aware of the energies, and the energies of fear and the energies of all these other things. And if you didn't make it be real and just for a moment said, okay, let me ask a question, because questions are always going to empower you when you don't already have it figured out to what the answer is.
Mm-hmm.
And then you don't try to get the good, the bad, the right answer, but instead you actually allow you to get awareness, information, you allow your creativity to kick in and really come up with different options that might be available. So start to really look at, hey, if you even like had the ambulance, right? Like your body immediately reacted to that. So like, that's because it's your awareness, right?
Yep.
But can we just for a moment send them just some energies of contribution, whatever they need, whatever their body needs, not from, we know the answer, but just like, hey, I'm sending some of my energy to you.
That is I'm glad that happened there, because obviously that's something that I'm still working through, but a slight reframe, right? That's something that I didn't even think about. Didn't even realize that I had energy to send to them. What I was thinking of was, wow, pour something, pour something. And I was thinking exactly what I was talking about. So I was feeling helpless in that moment. And what you just said is a sense of, hey, well, you don't have to feel helpless. You can just be, hey, I'm going to send my energy to them and, trust that the universe will do what it's going to do, which really, once again, invites presence into your life. And by the way, it's funny, I was just talking about the idea of trying not to control things that you can't control. I was attempted to control something that I couldn't control there. And I'm glad that you all could see that, because I was in the middle of saying something and then I stopped because I heard the ambulance, because that's been my automatic response all of a sudden. And so, yeah, it's very important to be able to acknowledge, as you said. That's also part of being present.
Yeah, but see, what the acknowledgement does is it takes you out of the I'm not able to do anything to, oh, okay, let me ask a question and be present with it. But it also gives you this, it's not wrong.
Yeah.
Where most of us, we learned our whole life, I'm wrong, and everything I do and I don't do is wrong. So when you get out of the judgment, which we'll talk more about this tomorrow because it's gratitude. I don't want to go too much into tomorrow.
You don't want to do it? No, okay, fine. Tomorrow.
We will. We can add some gratitude. But gratitude and judgment, they're on two different energetic frequencies. So gratitude's on the higher end of the frequency of energies, and judgment and all the other stuff is on the bottom. So like you allow you to align more with the higher frequencies, which actually assist you in becoming more present. So if nothing else works, grateful. Be grateful.
And but I do think, by the way, for anyone listening, a slight reframe can do something can change your whole energy. And usually reframing comes in the form of question. I think if you ask the right questions to yourself, you can change your life. Even if you're in the middle of doing something you're not supposed to do, you can say, is this useful? What's happening? Is this who I am? Just a subtle thing there. And with what you said is, what can I send to the ambulance right now or to the medical staff? Just a simple question that takes you out of the cycle of, it's another bad day, which is where I was headed. so it's very important to be able to understand that. So, yeah.
Cool. All right. So Anna has a question and she's been patiently waiting. So Anna, I'm going to bring you up, promote you to a panelist, and I'll let you choose if you desire to be on video or not. Until I see you. Hold on. Where is Anna? There's a few Annas. Hold on.
Oh, wow. There are a few Annas. Hi, Anna. Anna? Which one?
Where is Anna? I don't see her. Did Anna run away? Anna's not here. I can hear somebody.
Yeah, I hear a voice.
Oh, it's Milena. I just muted. Okay. Oh, there's Anna. I found her. Hold on. Okay, Anna, I just made you a co-host. So if you want it to be off your video, it's an option. You don't have to. but you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
I don't think she's unmuted.
Yeah, but she has to unmute. Okay, I'll unmute you. Anna, hello, welcome. I want to say,
so, Laleh, she's on my Zoom. I think she's just placing the hand like waves. I think she didn't have a question.
Okay, how does it get better than that? Okay, I'll put her back as the participant.
Oh, she didn't have a question?
Yeah, I guess she raised her hand. So there's a button that says raise your hand. Okay. And you can raise your hand. So I know you have a question, but I guess she doesn't. So there we go. Anna just wanted to be one of the panelists with us.
Okay. Well, does anybody have a question though? That is good. Or a share or something. I know, Nelson, you said that's a big one, forgiving ourselves. Certainly one that the person we don't forgive the most is usually ourselves. And that causes us to act a different way or to feel like we don't deserve certain things. So I'm just curious if there was more you wanted to share there, or maybe if that was showing up for other people. I just wanted to point that out. It really is. Yes, it really is. It really is. I agree. You still feel like you want to bury some bodies, Tabby?
Every time I'm still visualizing that.
All right, thanks for sharing again, Nelson. I really appreciate that. That's very true.
First, can we just for a moment thank our amazing translators?
Gracias. Merci. Obrigado.
Yes. Spasiba. Obrigada.
Obrigada. Yeah, sorry.
How do you say it in Croatian or Serbian?
Hvala.
How? Say it again.
Hvala.
Flala.
Yeah, perfect.
Flala.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a pretty one.
Okay.
Danke. Danke, we got the German.
Thank you. But no, seriously, thank you for that and doing this. But I think if we're summarizing and we're getting to the place where we're trying to figure out the ingredients of what it means to be president, it's the following things on the screen, and I'm seeing there's a chat. That's the way you say it, I guess. I don't know how to pronounce that, but that's how you say thank you.
I wrote it in Cyrillic letters.
Right. Yes. I was like, that's how you say it. You can say obrigado. It depends on the gender of the person. Obrigado is male. Yeah. I feel like I should have said obrigado because I'm looking.
If you said obrigada, then that would be really funny. And I could say obrigado, and then we would throw off everything in the world that's about gender. That would be a good way to be present and release gender stuff.
Okay, you know what? You're right. That is very fair. But so circling back to the idea of being present, it is the following things. If you ever find yourself getting into that cycle, think about how you can release tension. So think about the exercise that we went through earlier, where we were connecting with the body, connecting with the earth. What are ways you can release tension, right? Those things where you can connect your breath to your body, to your face, whatever, to really be one with that. Releasing tension allows you to release worries, because when you're worried, your body's tightening up, your heart rate is going faster than normal, and you might be sweating, your knees might be weak, palms might be sweaty, and now I'm Eminem. Knees weak, mom spaghetti everywhere. But then also another thing you want to do is you understand the cause versus symptoms. So is there a root cause behind that? What is that? Or are these symptoms? I think a lot of times we just think things are symptoms and we don't dive deeper to figure out what the cause of that behavior is. And so we're just, it's like we're putting a Band-Aid on an actual solution. And so many times when you find yourself I know you have a lot of words to say about being reactive. When you find yourself being reactive to certain things, a lot of times we haven't even figured out why we are reacting that way. What's the cause? What's the actual cause? And then the idea of control, and then make sure you free up mental space and go from me-centered to we-centered.
Yeah. Can I actually talk a little bit about that? I really want to talk about reaction versus action.
Yes.
And right now, when you really look at the last 5 weeks or longer, if you're in China, of what's been going on around the world, most of it has been a reaction. Most of it's been like the control life went away, and now everyone's jumping into how can I react to the problems. But one of the key aspects is not a reaction. Reaction puts you into, it takes you out of your awareness and creativity. You have to immediately align that there's a problem instead of, hey, what is the situation at hand? What is this? What can I do with it? Can I change it? How can I change it? Like, instead of going into that space of questions, you go into that space that automatically there was a problem. And to do that, imagine what happens to your body. You went into reflex, you went into defense. So you tense up your body, the muscles, the organs, and you're no longer allowing, like what we just did with that exercise, of having a clear space, a clear way of you actually now saying, okay, hey, what are the possibilities here I haven't even considered yet? What can I choose here I haven't even considered? Like, when you go into that, you're in the action mode, you're in the creative mode, and you're allowing you to go outside the box of the parameters of what you think is linear. Yeah. You bring the non-linear with the questions and the reaction. And I want to actually have you guys do this exercise. It's called, it's a right voice for you exercise, and it's called Barriers Down. See, when someone says something to you, what's the first thing? Like, if someone says, hey, you haven't done this yet. Like if they're going into that judgment of you haven't done something, what's the first thing that you even notice in your own bodies?
I'm getting ready to react. Like, what? I did it. What are you talking about?
Exactly. That's that reaction. But what happens is, for you to go there, you automatically brought up these energetic walls and barriers. Okay. You put on your boxing gloves and you're like, I'm ready to fight.
Yeah. Tabitha is funny, but this is what happens. I get the gloves on and I'm ready, to fight. But I do. Yeah. So that's interesting. So yeah. So why do you think we have that? So you're saying that we should be.
Well, so much of it is conditioned. How much did we learn as young kids? Hey, you have to fight back, fight for you, and all of that, right? But what you actually go into the fight mode gets you out of the creative mode. So I just want to invite you guys, like, what if everything we learned is the opposite of what actually is, and nothing's the opposite? Okay, like if we do that whole and get our mind out of it, so everything's the opposite of what it appears to be, nothing's the opposite of what it appears to be.
And also, do you think that it's because
hold on, we lost one of our translators. Give it like 1 second.
Oh, okay. Hi. Tabby says I was laughing at Tabby because she said she wants to bury them. Yeah. When that happens.
Yeah, she sure does. She does. Her and her shovel are good friends, and I'm getting.
We have a question from Nelson, but I wanted to say something. Do we have the translator back?
No, not yet. She's still
okay.
So we'll give it 1 minute, because the energies around internet has been interesting. Like, there's so many people on the internet these days. Mm-hmm. And maybe we'll just have her re-record this piece and we'll put it together. Okay, so let's go on. We're going to come to your question in 1 second, Nelson, but can I just finish this concept?
Yes.
It's like, do you guys remember growing up and there was handball? Do you remember handball? I don't know if they had it in other countries, but in America, yeah, remember, like, there was an elementary school, they had this wall and you had a big fat ball. And you would take the ball and you would hit it with your fist, and you would hit it so it hit the wall, and the wall would bounce it back at you, and then you would hit it even harder. Well, that's what we do when we go into defense and we go into fight mode. What you're doing is you put up your energetic walls and you send that energy to them, and their first line of defense is to put up their gloves and want to fight back. So then they put up their wall. So you have your wall, they have their wall, and everything now goes back and forth between you. Now, each time it goes back, it gets hit harder. Each time it comes, it hits harder. So you now are no longer in the ability to come up with anything else, ideas, creativity, solutions, or anything, because you are now part of that energy of problem.
Yeah. You know, is that the for every action?
Wait, yeah. Oh, there's a little more. 1 second. But if you do the opposite of what you were taught to do, and you actually, while they're talking to you, you go walls down, barriers down, like as if you energetically can visualize that wall coming down and just shove it back into the earth. Like just push it down. Okay? All of you guys do that now, okay? Imagine any walls and barriers you have, would you be willing to actually now lower it, and take it away from your body and give it back to the earth? And do it again. Mm-hmm. See, when you have no walls, no matter what they say or do goes through you. That big fat ball it doesn't have that stopping point, that wall to bounce against. All it can do is pass through. And when it passes through, you're actually receiving the information they're giving you, but it has no solidity to it. It's not significant. You can still get information, you can still get awareness, but now you have the upper hand because you can go into action. Now you can ask questions. Now you can come up with different options. Now you know exactly what to say that they require to hear. And you also have the option of walking away. And from that space, everything becomes possible. It's no longer the fight. Okay, all yours.
You have a few questions. I think you have 3 actually, 2 from Nelson and 1 from Tabby. But I can read them. I think Nelson's one is, how can we be more prone to choose action in the moment that happens something instead of the choice by default to react to everything? I think. Do you understand the question?
Yeah.
Okay,
I think the first place is just know with everything, whether someone's talking or sending you an email or whatever's going on in the engagement between you and someone else or something else, you have choice. At that moment, you can make whatever's happening be a problem, or your other choice is that, hey, what's possible here I haven't considered? Like literally, you can go possibilities or problem. Those are your 50-50 choices, right?
Mm-hmm.
The minute you made it a problem, you are in reaction mode and in that wall mode, and you're going back and forth. Unless they're choosing to go to action mode and not reaction. Put a little twist in that one, huh? Okay.
Well, okay. No, I mean, I definitely can see that. And Tabby has an interesting question with it that I guess is along the same lines, because you were talking a lot about the opposite. So she says, what actually is the value of everything is the opposite of what it appears to be. How does that create more? So I guess she wants to understand how that opposite creates more.
Well, everything is the opposite of what it appears to be is more there to get you out of your mind and get you present, to not think of the solution and the only options that you think are available. So it's more of a brain mind twister. So you say everything is the opposite of what it appears to be, nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be, and you could repeat it as often as you like. But what that does is it actually tells you, be present and don't have it figured out. Because if you have it figured out, you think there's only one answer. But if you go into the question, you open that to actually have many different possibilities, many different options that you get to choose from. Like, you then have a menu to choose from.
Like that. You have a menu to choose from.
Mm-hmm.
You keep coming back to the power of choice. It's
Mm-hmm.
power of choice. Interesting. Do you have a visual aid to make it easier to someone that isn't accustomed to this type of exercise? Stops the mind chatter and logical mind. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, we do. We just didn't put it here because we wanted to keep it more engaging than for you to have it only as one viewpoint. But if you wanted to, we can easily put that together. One of the things I'm going to invite you to is actually your willingness to go more with what do you know? Because these scenarios are all going to be a little bit different based on your knowing and kind of how you handle things. When you said the logical mind, it is. Our logical mind usually only knows what we've seen, what we think we've done before. Your creative mind takes you into that world of magic and something different than what's ever existed. Inventors aren't looking at it from what's been done before. They do only to know as a foundation, but they don't use it towards their point of creativity. So it's like, what have we not considered? What have we not even thought about? Like it going from that place of it. And the exercise that I was sharing with you, do that. And we can write it out, and it could be part of our follow-up that we send out to you guys at the end of this. Mm-hmm. The exercises, we can have them verbally or written or however you like, but like just your willingness to say, hey, I'm going to become more present to know, when am I putting up my walls?
The thing that I wanted to add to this is that a lot of creation comes out of uncertainty. A lot of creation comes out of moments like this. Moment when we had a crisis, I believe it was 2008, or where we had the depression, somewhat similar. Yeah, things like Uber or Airbnb or all these moments. And this is throughout history. There are moments during this time where your true self is forced to come out, whether it's the worst instincts or the best instincts. A lot of times, the choice that you have to make is who you're going to be in that moment. Are you going to be your vice or your virtue? And the other thing that is very important to understand is that the idea of creating is something that leads to eventual flow or something. I mean, I was talking to Laleh earlier that we were both talking about how we had little sleep, and it's because we had ideas that were just coming out of moments. And it was those moments of creativity that you want to honor, because you might not even know where that destination is going to end up, but that journey is very, very important to go down, because it's going to lead you down the path of trusting yourself. And I say trusting yourself because a lot of times the logical mind will come and say, well, who's ever done that before? And I think about airplanes that we all fly on now without, much thought. But can you imagine what it was like for the Wright brothers and the others that were competing at those moments to say, hey, we're going to go against gravity. We're going to try this thing and see if it works out. Hey, I know you have these cars on land, but we're going to just do this thing here. I mean, we might fail a little bit, but we are going to fly. Okay. And you can imagine obviously I've seen enough documentaries to know that there was a race to it and all that, but there were a lot of skeptics, and that's what happens. You have to see something and you have to continue down that path. But many times, not everybody is going to agree with you. In fact, most people probably won't agree with you, but you should honor that desire to create, that desire to be extraordinary, because it is in you. And so whatever is happening, try and decipher what logical is in that moment from actual reality.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, look at it. Our whole world has changed. Like, airlines are going to look different. Hotels are going to look different. Schools, like, I've done so much. I long time ago, I was a teacher, and in the last few years, I was working with a very unique online school in their approach, and getting the school systems to even think about being online. Like, they were like, I don't want to think about it. It's not even part of my we do it this way kind of thing. And in 24 hours, they had to do what they've been resisting forever. Like, this coronavirus has created lots of things, and yes, it's made it to where more people have been exposed, we've had deaths. I still don't know if we've had as much death as we usually do in a given year based on, heart attack. Like, if you combine how people pass away, I don't know if it's higher or not these days, but it's more present with us. The news doesn't tell you all the people that died of heart attacks or the flu or, getting hit by a car. Now we're present with what's happening in the world, and new inventions of masks. People, like, I'm in a hotel, I have no mask. All these little places had already sold out by the time I got there. The hotel is making their own masks for their staff, and they brought me a couple. Like, the creativity, the collaborations that are happening, the willingness to look outside the box is gonna be creating a different kind of future for all of us.
Yeah.
And this is the time for you not to sit back and just watch TV, but what do you know? And what does your knowing have the ability to create that doesn't exist today, or exist but could be better? Like, what can you put in place? And I think, I talk with so many people of different ages right now, and it's like, this is the time to share your voice with the world. This is not about sitting back and letting someone else lead, and you're going to follow whenever you follow. You need to take that moment and be the leader of your life, and allow you being the leader to penetrate through the world and allow so much more to be available.
So Nelson calls this the virus of change. I think this is a mirror, is what I've been saying. I do think what's happening is exactly what you're saying. It's revealing a lot of dampened creativity we've suppressed because of status quo and marriage to the way it's supposed to be. I consult with companies on diversity, equity, and inclusion. And a lot of times, one of the things that it's been tough to get people to figure out how to implement is a virtual workforce. This idea of practicing inclusion by hiring people that might be immunocompromised, or people from different backgrounds, or having them in different areas, because the idea was if you're not in the office, you're being less productive. And like you said, the virus came, all of a sudden they figured it out. And so what does that say about us as a world? Are we saying no to things that we shouldn't be saying no to, or are we saying it out of convenience? So it's a matter of us to really reflecting in those moments. But I do like the thing that you said, where it's an opportunity to create, because there's never been a time where where almost everybody is right now. Almost everybody that has the access to internet is online. So what are you doing to create? This is a time to show up. Maybe before no one would have listened to you because not everybody's practicing presence. But now everybody is like, I'm bored in the house. What am I going to do now? And so this is the time for the course. This is the time to create your mask. This is the time to create something that brings joy to someone. Music, whatever it is that you want to do, or I've always wanted to do, just honor yourself. And don't get enamored by the idea of only 10 people liked this or 15 people like this, because then if you think about it, if 10 people showed up to your mini concert or something, you'd be like, that's 10 people. I didn't know what that is. And so, yeah, Sonny, you want to say something?
Well, you're
Go ahead.
setting forth for tomorrow's gratitude. We show
Oh yeah, I wasn't.
No,
I'm just grateful for the presentation.
but that's the thing. It's gratitude. We like our willingness to be grateful for every choice, no matter what it is. Like we think like for example, I'll give you guys this example. Like we don't know what we're asking for, but like I really was like a little frustrated. My internet wasn't always the greatest, and I'm online 24/7 right now. And there were some things like the lights, like I mentioned earlier, but how it shows up doesn't show up the way you think it does. Like when you put an ask that you'd like something greater in your life, like you just never know how it's going to show up. And I had it to my downstairs neighbors started doing construction while they're at home. Okay, I'm staying in a hotel residence because, you know, I'm in Portugal, 9-day trip to turn into 40 so far, you know, and I was like, I could be mad, but I wasn't. And I was just like, okay, what's right about this? Like, what is right about this? And I called the manager and I was just like very kind, not like in his face, but I was like, hey, what can we do? You know, I'm on video a lot and having that noise like really doesn't work for my business from home right now. And he was like, well, Laleh, let's move you. And I was like, you know, I have so much stuff. The concept of moving, I was like, oh my God, I have so many meetings. I have back to back. Everything's happening. I have classes online. When do I have time to move or pack? But then I was like, wow, what is this? What gift is this that's just shown up so different than I imagined? And it was, I get here. I did it literally in half an hour move, came here. There's more lights here. There is less sound. There's like the little trash can has a little stepper on it, like the little things I've been asking for that just showed up in this apartment.
Yeah.
And I would have thought, oh, it's a problem because now I have someone underneath me. But if you turn that problem 180 degrees, and now it's a possibility, what possibility is it?
Yeah. What possibility is it? Sometimes we miss what we ask for because we're not being present. And so, yeah, bars. That's what we millennials say. Bars. We just drop some bars. Okay, sorry, I'm back. It's sorry. So what I mean by when we miss what we ask for, you know, we miss what the universe has asked for, you know, because we're not being present, is because, you know, there are many of these parables that would say, I want to be able to have, you know, fish or something, and then someone is everybody is dropping like the fishing rod in front of you, and you have to learn how to use it. But like, no, I want fish. I want the fish to actually come to me. But like, no, but we gave you the fishing rod the whole time. And so it's the same analogy of what you're saying. So the you know, you needed a new place, and someone said, okay, well, we'll move it. Maybe that's not something that is an option for other people, but hey, you actually have a gift here, so you can use it. And so how can you reframe COVID-19 as a gift for yourself today? How can you say, oh, it's a book I needed to write, or I needed to be more present with my mom, my dad, my parents. I needed to work out more. I needed to learn how to meditate, or whatever it is that you want to do. How can you reframe it as a gift? That's the one home. Well, you don't like homework. What did you say?
Home play.
Home play. That's the home.
You know why? You know why? Let me explain. Do you remember you were in school and your teacher said you have homework? How
Yes.
does your body feel when I say homework?
So I'm a nerd, Ravenclaw. I like homework, but home play. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, but
you know how many people's walls come up the minute they hear homework?
yes, a lot of people do. I used to ask for it, but you know. But be willing. No, you're right though. Be willing to receive it all, the good, the bad. Allow everything to exist as is, and choose from here. But yes, how can you reframe whatever you're feeling right now as a gift? That's my thing for you today, and so that you don't miss your, you know, you miss your gift, because I think that's the whole point of today, is that we are missing the potential growth that we could have, potential creativity that we could have, the potential answers to questions that we've been asking all our lives by not being present. When you're not present, you look for answers in the wrong place. When you look for answers in the wrong place, you get more frustrated. When you get more frustrated, you get to be the worst version of yourself. And then when you get to be the worst version of yourself, you are just reacting without knowing what you're doing.
First, I want to thank the translators who just translated everything you just said.
Oh, translate. Oh, by the way, I would like to know what bars mean. When I said bars, what does that mean? So I can use that, but it's okay. Thank you. I'm so grateful for you all. I'm not allowed to use the word grateful because Laleh doesn't want me to say anything until tomorrow, but I am grateful for you all. And thank you. I am a fast talker, so I do, please. I
They're
apologize.
amazing. I've been watching them. They're like on the ball. They're good. They're like, yeah, we're flowing with him. The wizard, he's got his wand. And here we are.
But no, that was basically all I had to say about being present. I loved your exercises. I've got to say that. I loved the exercise that you had. The first one in particular. I just didn't realize, because like I said, I had a splitting headache. I've had a splitting headache for 2 days. Which could be the lack of sleep, maybe, but but it cleared up when I was doing that.
But see, that's the other piece, is when you're present, you also know, hey, the earth's asking for my contributions too, and the earth does ask for our contributions all the time. So like I said, you could send a kiss to the earth. You could just say, Earth, I send you all the contributions you require, just like that ambulance, just send you for whatever they require. Yes. And also, that exercise is just for me, it's yummy. It's fast, and you don't have to close your eyes. I've done it in the middle of board meetings. I've done it when I've been sitting there with my family, like those moments where Tabby was talking about bringing out the shovel, like the moments of just be present with you again. The space of you and your body.
You two are worrying me. I'm not married yet, so I don't know. Is this what I should expect when I get married? Should I have a shovel and say, "Hey, till death do us part"? The shovel. Okay, but Tabby says, "Can we repeat the exercises tomorrow?" I am sure Laleh would love to lead that again, because I don't remember everything she said.
Definitely. And the good news is, if you guys actually got on here, you got on here because you registered, and we'll do the replay of the audio and the video for you in a box. It's a link, so you just go there, and you can also listen to it as often as you like. So all our calls will be there and available for you as well.
Yeah. Can you all type the one takeaway that you had from today? Whatever it was. And I know that there are 48 of you here, so.
I know, some of them jumped off when the trip left.
No, I'm saying, I just say I expect 40 something answers. So, because I've seen Tabby, I've seen Nelson, I've seen Martha.
Tabby, she'll fill up her holes with dirt today.
I mean, that's a positive sign. At least it's not with people.
Wait, Tabby, are you digging them up because you're planting some beautiful garden, so when I come, I can have some yummy fruits and vegetables?
Oh, reframing, perfect. Yes, of course. That's what she meant. Okay. Martha says, be present and share your voice with the world. Wonderful. I love that. That's amazing. Yes. What else? What are the other takeaways?
And sometimes we don't have words, it's like this, we just know, like, we just feel good and our body's more relaxed, or there's just this energy that's changed, and it's about acknowledgement of all of it. So when you notice you're making changes, and you will, the minute you get out of the problem and start asking questions, you're going to help you and your body relax and change things, change the mood on things. And when you acknowledge, hey, you know what? I just changed something. You don't have to know what it was. You don't have to put your mind back into it. But just the willingness you give yourself permission to have more.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of that, Isabel says, being you. And Nelson says, the fact that I always have a choice, even when I don't recognize it in a moment. The choice is there for me. I can choose to act upon who I truly am and what I truly want to create in my life and reality. Or I can choose to just react in the moment based on what I feel, on what I think, or how I think about the other and the situation. That is deep, Nelson. I think, Nelson, you and I, get along. That's deep. Rachel Jansen. Jensen, rather. The choice is ours and how we show up in the world. The best way is for us to be present over and over because the impact is beneficial for ourselves. A lot of choices here. Okay. Hey, look at you. Look at you, Laleh, unlocking choices left and right. Look at that. All the way from Portugal.
Go Portuguese and Brazilians. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Tabby. Thank you, Nelson. Thank you, Marta. Thank you, Isabel. Thank you, Tabby. Thank you.
Hey, I've got to thank all of you guys, whether you were here live with us today or you're watching in the future. And Tabby sent me a picture that I don't know you'll be able to see on my phone, but somehow I was a psychic wizard. And the shoveling is not only about bodies. She's created a magical garden. I don't know if you guys can see that, but can you?
I can see. I mean, thank you, Anna. Oh my gosh, she's in sync with Portuguese. Thank you so much for sharing that picture. I was just a little worried, Tabby, but but it's good. Celia says, I have to say thank you. While I was listening to you, you just created 2 classes. You just created 2 classes? What? What a flow of energy. Thank you. Thank you for creating. Thank you for that gift. Look at that.
This is when we say, how does it get even better than that? Because you allow it to expand even greater.
Wow. Wow, 2 classes. In the magical translators. Yes. By the way, in Hogwarts, where we were all sorted. If I had my Dumbledore impression, I could do it. Harry Potter. You are all beautiful. Yes. Thank you. I really, I hope you all felt the energy shift in the world, in the universe, and you reacted to it. And I'm really excited to see the classes that you created. Creating 2 classes in less than 90 minutes is pretty magical.
We've never done that before.
Yeah, you have to share some of that secrets, Celia. I don't know. 2 classes is incredible. That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you for that gift. And yeah, any closing words for you?
Wow, what a magical day 1. We have 2 more days to go.
We have 2 more days. Gratitude tomorrow, right? Yeah.
Yep. And please just know, we probably have never really acknowledged what we are already being, what you're being and the gift of you. And you did when you were 3 years old. You knew everything. You knew the greatness of you. You knew the world had everything possible. And you could laugh and play and receive from everything. And so we just invite you guys again, doesn't matter how old you are now, how old your body is, but what if you could be that 3-year-old again in your curiosity, in your play, in your joy, and that, like you said, that whole flow of bringing all of that and affecting the whole world with it.
Yes. Believe in your magic. It's great. believe in your magic. Yes, it is amazing. It will I think you will surprise yourself if you actually believe in yourself. It's one of the things. My therapist is always reminding me of this. She's always telling me, asking me what it is I believe I have to offer into the world, because sometimes I have a very self-deprecating humor that can sometimes dampen my own greatness. And so she would just remind me, hey, just ask yourself, what is it that you have to offer? And so reminding yourself of that every day, it's just a great reminder. you are beautiful, and this is what you're doing. So, my final word is always my mission statement. I hope that you all can use your difference to make a difference, because you are amazing.
Thank you, everyone. So grateful you're here. We'll see you tomorrow at the same time, same channel. Thank you. Translators, you can turn off your audios. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, and thank you.